Hello everyone, and hope you're all having an amazing day or had an amazing day. Today I'm going to discuss TSC or Tuberous Sclerosis Complex and how it's impacted each of my daughters on an individual basis, very uniquely. With TSC, unfortunately, because it's so complicated, each individual born with TSC can have completely different symptoms from one person to the next. You could be even born minutes apart and your disease could be completely different from the person that was born next to you. This is something that we will be battling for the rest of our lives, and it's not curable. It's something that we can only treat the actual symptoms, not actually cure the disease. So we're going to be fighting with this for lifelong. It's a lifelong battle, but we're here to do what we need to do to make sure that our daughters are having a healthy and happy life. Please hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell so you can be notified on all of my latest videos. And please don't forget to hit the like button and comment below so you can help me to continue to grow my channel, or if you have any questions pertaining to TSC. Okay, let's get started. Let's talk about what our battles are here, right? Okay, with TSC or tuberous sclerosis complex, it's a genetic disorder. It's caused by gene changes. So sometimes it's really caused by mutation of the TSC1 or the TSC2 gene. These genes are thought to, or are noted to be, the main reason why, or the main cause of preventing any cells from going too fast or out of control, or way too quickly changing. Either of these genes can cause a lot of these to grow and divide throughout your body. So hence why TSC growths they're mainly considered non-cancerous growths. Now they can be cancerous on very rare occasions, unfortunately, but luckily for us, so far so good. We haven't had anything cancerous related. We haven't had any issues that are cancer related. All right, so very rare disease. Actually, crazy thing is that about 2/3 of people that do get TSC have no genetic link, so the father or mother do not have it. So it's something that can happen sporadically. With TSC is very rare. It's not something that happens often, hence why a lot of doctors are not very familiar with it. They have some knowledge of it, but they don't have too in-depth knowledge about it. It also happens, obviously, many occasions where you can have TSC when you're born with it and you don't even know you have it. Very similar to my daughter's father, where he didn't even know he had it. The reason he found out was because I took my oldest daughter, Amber, to get her feet checked because she had little cells growing out of her toenails. And I was kind of like, okay, what is this? And it was very similar to her father, so she wanted to have it cut off. So she was about 12 years old. So when I took her, the podiatrist actually noted what they were, and I started doing research. He said, I'm not sure, but I believe those are called periungual fibromas. So we ended up doing a lot of, he checked his, pretty much his medical books, and he told me exactly what it was. And then I ended up doing research, and that's how I found out about TSC. And that's how their father found out he had it, which is pretty crazy, right? So, many times the symptoms are so mild, people don't even realize they have it, right? So again, it's fortunate for some people, but from other people it could be so severe that as soon as you're born, your baby could be having seizures right from the womb. So I known a couple of cases where the baby just or their child cannot stop having seizures because of all the tubers in their brain, all the clusters in their brain. So we're very fortunate. Like, I know my daughters, both of them have their issues, but it can be a lot worse. It can always be a lot worse, right? So we are grateful for, though we have our struggles, we're grateful that we're able to get through it together as a family. So for my youngest, she has a SEGA, which is a small tuber that grew into a larger tuber. It's in the front left lobe of her brain. It's the main cause of her seizures that she was having when she was little. We are fortunate because we were able to be prescribed Everolimus. Everolimus is something that is actually still used by, or currently used by cancer parents. That is currently used by cancer patients. This is something that is not too old, a few years old. I think it's about 4 years old now, because when we found out about it, it was about 2 years. So we actually had rushed my youngest, Alani, to get brain surgery because she had a stiff neck, wasn't able to move it. We ended up taking her to get an MRI, and they found out that her tuber that was about 1.9 centimeters grew to about 3.8 centimeters within 2 years. So it freaked them out. They called us. We rushed to the hospital. The neurosurgeon said, hey, I had actually already researched it, so I brought the information with me, which I recommend every single time, no matter what disease you have. Come write down your questions, because especially in a very frantic situation like the one we had, you don't think straight, right? You do not think straight. And there's been plenty of times where I left the hospital room or the doctor's room saying, I wish I would have asked them that, right? So make sure that when you think of something, write it down right away. Do not wait, because you're going to forget it. Trust me, I've done it too. It's really important. So when we went to see the doctor, I brought up Everolimus. He said he was going to bring it up, and he wanted me to try. He wanted us to try that before we go to the surgery, because of where the tumor is. It's pretty far down in the brain. He would have been able to get it out, but he says that it would have made her situation slightly worse, because she's already struggling in school. He said that she probably would have been struggling even further, just because of where the actual tumor was. So once we got her on Everolimus, it worked. It worked tremendously. She's back down to 1.9 centimeters, and we're working on getting it further down. So it's exciting, something that actually worked. And her seizures are completely gone. She's had like one or two the past year, but very sporadic and very quick, and we were able to deal with it by going to see the doctor and changing her medications right away. So if you do have a child or someone that you're working with that has seizures, make sure that as soon as they have a seizure, you go see the doctor. Do not hesitate, do not wait, because adjusting that medication can prevent that person from having another seizure, especially if it's someone that hasn't had a seizure for a long time. So highly recommend, just get out there, go see your doctor, go figure it out quickly, get your medication adjusted so that you can prevent having another seizure. Because as soon as your brain, your neurons start adjusting to just throwing off your brain signals and again having seizures, it starts becoming a repetition. Like it's a memory thing, right? So your brain, you will have another seizure if you do not address that issue quickly. And that's why the doctors always tell you to go see them again if you do have another seizure, so that you can prevent another one from occurring. Now for my oldest, her biggest factor is FSGS, which is commonly related to TSC, hence why both of my girls have it. They both have TSC, they both have FSGS, very closely related. My oldest, FSGS was the main cause of her living nightmare. She has brain clusters, which we've seen, but the main factor for her is she actually has a tumor in her skull, right across her face and her cheek. Now, it hasn't made any issues, or it hasn't given her any issues. It's more like she's had headaches here and there. But the doctor told her she can have it removed, but he said it's not, there's no point, because it's not going to be a major factor in her life. It's not going to grow any further. So we've decided to stay away from that. Since she's had so many other surgeries, we want to prevent that from happening. So with Amber, which is my oldest, she ended up having kidney disease. I ended up giving her my kidney, and 2 years she lost it, unfortunately. Went on dialysis for about 7.5 years, ended up getting her second kidney. Now, throughout that time frame, obviously she's had major struggles, was having really difficulties throughout that whole process of dialysis, which was a nightmare. But she's doing a heck of a lot better now after several surgeries, and finally getting to a better place, right? So with TSC, it can cause a number of issues. Like I said, brain, lungs, heart, liver, kidneys, all these areas get affected, your skin. They have to have at least 2 to 3 indicators to tell you whether or not you have TSC. You'll see little patches of lighter skin and small areas in the body, most likely thighs, stomach, buttocks area. Small bumps, usually, which are the periungual fibromas right around the nails, nail bed, or your toenails. You'll have like small little lifted, almost like freckles right across the front of your face. They look like red little lifted freckles. Definitely a common sign of TSC, which their father actually had. That was probably one of his main signs. Seizures can often be linked to TSC, problems in thinking, reasoning, just learning. Like my youngest daughter, she's having difficulties with her learning. Biggest part of that is because she has really bad ADHD, can't focus, it's really has a really struggling to remember things. Processing delays are really bad with my youngest daughter. Other things, behavior problems. Again, my youngest daughter has hyperactivity. She's not aggressive in any way. She's just can't recognize, a lot of times she can't recognize danger, which is very scary. She's gotten better now that she's gotten older, because I continue to put that in her head and kind of push it in there so that she doesn't forget. but she has gotten a lot better. Before, she was really bad. Kidney problems, very common. Some of those girls can occur on the kidney. Now, my oldest daughter, it wasn't because of any tubers. Her issues were all related to the FSGS, which ties in a lot with TSC too as well. Heart problems are related to the tubers will be larger when you're born, but they do shrink and they dissolve into the bloodstream as you get older. You can eventually have lung problems. That's something that is more common in women than in male. But so far so good with my girls. My oldest daughter is being monitored, so her lungs have been looking really good lately. Any eye problems, patches usually grow, like white patches on the light sensitive tissues at the back of the eyes. So I would recommend, if you do have TSC, definitely go see an eye doctor. One main thing that my oldest daughter is definitely struggling with, she does struggle with her gums, especially because of the pits and stuff like that. Again, another doctor that you should be seeing, regardless if you have TSC or not, is the dentist. Dentist is definitely a good person to go see if you see any major issues, especially with your gums and stuff like that. Having TSC, you should be seeing them twice as much. The biggest factor when it comes to TSC was with my youngest was definitely the SEGA, because it was blocking the fluid in her brain. That is actually more common than not when it comes to TSC. Though the tumors are typically non-cancerous, they can be very rare, but they can be cancerous, which is another factor you should be monitoring for. I guess I say this really sincerely. I think that I understand how difficult it is. Trust me, just having two daughters that have such a rare disease like Tuberous Sclerosis Complex, it's definitely opened my eyes to the reality that not one person or individual is perfect. Yes, I see families with healthy kids, and I'm happy for them. Sometimes I'm envious. Sometimes I'm envious because I wish my daughters were able to have a healthy life where they can go ahead and be whoever they want to be in life and enjoy life the way they choose to. But it's not, it's not our reality. Our reality is a bunch of, we get familiar with different doctors and understand what, read a lot about medical issues, medicines and stuff like that, and making sure that we treat the symptoms as best that we can so that they can live their long, healthy, happy lives. But, it's funny because in one hand, I'm like stressed out all the time, trying to understand how to keep my girls healthy. But on the other hand, I feel more powerful and my eyes are open to the reality that not everything's going to be easy in life. Some kids are able to just have everything and they don't deal with anything complicated, and their families are just dealing with their kid stuff. And with me, I'm able to understand that there are so many challenges. My girls are able to understand that they've had to deal with so many different challenges. So it's made us stronger, right? It's made us stronger and more aware and more sensitive to those people that are going through the similar struggles as we are. Right? So I think that's a good way to put it, right? Anyway, thank you guys for taking the time out to check out my video. I hope this was informative. In the coming months, actually the end of February, I'm going to be actually doing an interview with my youngest daughter's hematologist and Dr. Larkin and her nurse practitioner, Leslie. Two amazing people, and they actually gave me the opportunity to ask them questions or a little bit more about TSC, and I think it'll be great to share with you guys, and so you can see it from the doctor perspective. And I thought that was really cool that they're gonna let me do that. Please don't forget to hit the like button and comment below. Let me know what you thought about today's video, and if you have any questions pertaining to TSC and what we do on a day-to-day basis just to keep our sanity. Please don't forget to focus through and evolve. Ciao.